Let's speak to John Reid, Midlands Campaign Director of HS2 Action Alliance. John, hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, just intrigued that other parts of the country outside the West Midlands are desperate to get on board high-speed rail. We in the West Midlands appear to be rather lukewarm about it.
No, I don't think that's true at all, actually, in terms of the other parts of the country. 53% of the British population are opposed to HS2, well over half, and only something like 28% in the last YouGov poll in favour of it. Most people don't want this railway, and the reason why is because there is no need for it. There's a myth which has been perpetrated by the government that there's a capacity crisis on the West Coast Main Line. It is totally untrue, and it's untrue on Network Rail's and the government's own figures, which show that even in peak times, the West Coast Main Line between London and Manchester is only 52% full, so it's nearly half empty. So it's just not necessary, this line, and that's one of the reasons why there are many British people, no doubt, who are against the line being built in the West Midlands and all over the country.
But John, what seems to be a uniform pattern, and it's true here in the West Midlands, and not just in Birmingham, but if you look at Black Country, local authorities, they're in favour of HS2. So politically, there is a commitment to HS2, and business groups, certainly the larger business groups, appear to support it. So are the people, if you like, behind the times, behind the businesses and behind the politicians?
No, I think actually what it is this is the people against the politicians. This is a classic case of our politicians wasting a huge amounts of money on an infrastructure project that is just not needed. It is just not needed. We would be the first people to say, yes, of course this country needs massive infrastructure upgrade. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. But to spend what is going to be £70 billion plus on a single railway is absolute lunacy, and that is, I think, is why many people have taken a very common sense view. So really, it's a situation here. It is our own politicians defying the will of the people, which
John,
I hope many people will bear in mind when it comes to the general election.
John Reid, the Midlands Campaign Director of HS2 Action Alliance. What's Greg got to say about it? Good morning to you, Greg. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on BBC WM today. What's your thought, Greg?
Well, there's a couple of things. Is that are these the same business leaders propounding the virtues of HS2 who were propounding the virtues and the economic brilliance of the Birmingham Northern Relief Road about 20 years ago? The one that's supposed to have relieved all the traffic that I've just had to travel through down the M6.
A very interesting point. It's interesting that the two chambers of commerce, and they tend to represent bigger businesses, both the Birmingham Chamber and the Black Country Chamber are in favour of high speed too, although a survey of smaller businesses that I mentioned last year reckon that 66% of small businesses are opposed to it.
The way in which I see it, Adrian, and you'll be able to guess sort of when I did this, but I've travelled the length and breadth of Japan by Shinkansen, and I've got to admit that there's no such thing as a sexy train, but if there was, the Shinkansen would be it.
Is that the bullet train?
Yeah. And they are absolutely unbelievable. But the fact of the matter is that the only people who were using the Shinkansen when we were out there for the World Cup were basically people like me who could get a rail pass as a foreigner at a heavily discounted amount, like I paid 240 quid or something like that, and the other people were salarymen. Like that lady said, that lady Taz, it's just going to be a posh person's private railway, and it's an abomination. You know, like our government just seemed to think that, you know, like for whatever reason, that the white elephant that was the Birmingham Northern Relief Road, the white elephant that was the Millennium Dome, they've got to trump them.